The Galactic Empire had conquered 43 species before breakfast, and it intended to add a 44th before lunch. There was no ceremony to it, no cosmic trumpet, no royal decree carved into starlight. Just a single, bored announcement echoing across half the galaxy. To the bipedal mammals of Terra, congratulations. You are now Imperial property. Please report for cataloging, inoculation, and any necessary obedience training. The message floated gently through space like a lazy insult tossed over a fence. The aliens didn't even bother encrypting it. Why waste effort on a species whose home videos included people falling off treadmills? On the bridge of a sleek, obsidian starship orbiting Zyrith Prime, Captain Marcus Vale blinked at the holographic proclamation. He held a steaming cup of black coffee at an angle that suggested either deep thought or utter disbelief. He murmured softly, as though evaluating a restaurant menu instead of an enslavement order. They spelled congratulations wrong. The bridge crew, a handful of equally calm humans, watched him with the alert stillness of people prepared for chaos, but too polite to mention it. Marcus took another slow sip. It was quite possibly the most serene reaction to a declaration of slavery in galactic history. Behind him, the viewport displayed the capital planet of the Galactic Empire, a glittering world wrapped in towering spires and cruel, stunning beauty. The Empire was old, ruthless, and proud of both. "Sir," whispered Lieutenant Yara Singh, voice a mix of amusement and nerves. "Should we respond?" Marcus offered his trademark gentle smile, the kind that looked warm at first glance but carried a subtle tilt, a shadow, something unreadable. "Of course. It's rude not to." He stepped forward, straightened his uniform, and opened a direct channel to the Galactic High Council. The screen flickered, revealing 5 alien rulers resembling a council of overconfident nightmares. Serpentine scales, gleaming metal plating, amphibious tendrils. Each face looked at Marcus with the mild confusion one reserved for a lost puppy. The Zirithi Chancellor hissed, "Identify yourself, human." "Captain Marcus Vale, Earth representative." He smiled again, gentle, friendly, disarming. "Hi." Silence rippled across the council chamber. "Hi," one of them repeated, unsure whether it was a greeting, an insult, or a challenge. Marcus nodded pleasantly. "I just wanted to confirm. You're declaring us slaves." "Indeed," the Chancellor said, smug and satisfied. "Your species is biologically suited for labor. Strong backs, limited intelligence, easily replaced. A perfect addition to the Empire." "Well," Marcus said, rubbing his chin thoughtfully, "that's certainly a take." The council exchanged puzzled glances. Humans weren't reacting correctly. The amphibious Cell-Run envoy croaked, "Your tone does not match your circumstances." "Oh, this is just how we are," Marcus said lightly. "We laugh when scared, smile when furious, and say no worries when everything is absolutely on fire." The robotic Quantari emissary tilted its square metal head. "Unsettling." "Thank you," Marcus replied cheerfully. Behind the council, alien guards shifted nervously. The Emperor himself leaned forward, examining the human like a scientist inspecting an unfamiliar parasite. "You are calm," the Emperor said slowly. "Too calm." Marcus shrugged modestly. "Well, stress gives me wrinkles. So does genocide. I try to avoid both." A faint shock rippled across the alien faces. Then laughter, sharp, cruel, echoing, burst from the Chancellor. "You think you can bargain? You think your little planet can negotiate with the Empire?" Marcus raised both hands in a polite, almost apologetic gesture. No. I'm not here to negotiate your decision. I'm here to clarify our response." "Response?" The Cell-Run envoy repeated with disbelief. "You have no fleets. No armies. No allies." Marcus nodded. "We don't need many. We make do." "You are primitives," another hissed. "We get that a lot," Marcus said warmly. "Usually right before things get, let's call it educational." The Emperor narrowed his golden eyes. "You dare threaten us?" "No, sir," Marcus replied, innocent as dawn. Threatening implies uncertainty. I'm simply providing a calendar update. The aliens shifted. The Chancellor whispered, "Human speech patterns contain too much sarcasm. I cannot parse intention." Marcus offered a sympathetic nod. "It's okay. Most humans can't either." Yara, just off-screen, suppressed a laugh so violently her shoulders shook. The Emperor slammed a clawed hand down. "Your insolence is noted. Your world will be chained." Marcus bowed his head. For a moment, just a breath, something old and dark flickered beneath the surface, as if a mask slipped. When he looked up, his smile was brighter, softer, terrifyingly controlled. "Well then," he said, "we'll have to send our regrets. Earth isn't accepting tyrants this season. Maybe try again in never." The amphibious envoy sputtered. "Your courage is misplaced." "Is it?" Marcus asked, tilting his head slightly. "Or are you just not used to prey that looks back?" The room chilled. The aliens didn't blink, they didn't need to, but something in their posture faltered, ever so slightly. The wise Selrun elder leaned forward, his voice low. "What are you hiding, human?" Marcus smiled as though he'd been waiting for exactly that question. "Nothing," he said softly. "Well, not nothing. But that would spoil the surprise." A long, brittle silence stretched between them. "You speak in riddles," the elder murmured. "I speak politely," Marcus corrected. "It just sounds like riddles because I'm not yelling." The Quantari emissary's voice crackled with static frustration. "The Empire does not fear." A soft chime interrupted him. Marcus glanced down at a small device on his wrist. A faint message blinked. "Phase 1 complete. Awaiting authorization." Marcus tapped the screen off smoothly, folding his hands behind his back before any alien could notice. "Sorry about that," he said. "Reminder to stretch." The Emperor rose. "You will kneel." "Only if we're proposing," Marcus said. "We're not." The Serpentine Chancellor snarled. "Your species will be harvested." "Please don't," Marcus answered kindly. "It won't end well for you." "And what," the Emperor demanded, "makes you believe humans have any power here?" Marcus exhaled slowly, his eyes drifting to the distant stars behind the council. Somewhere out there in the black, whole fleets waited with silent engines. His voice softened, smoothed, became something colder wrapped in velvet. "Because," he said, "you've mistaken our kindness for weakness, and our quiet for compliance." Yara's breath caught. Even the aliens sensed the shift. Marcus continued gently. "Humans smile for many reasons. Joy. Humor. Friendship. Nerves." His expression tightened. Warmth gone, replaced by something ancient. "And sometimes," he said, "we smile before we bite." The council chamber flickered with unease. Then, another message buzzed across Marcus's wrist. This one he acknowledged with only a slight raise of his eyebrows. "Human forces in position. Awaiting final signal." Marcus turned back to the council. "Well," he said lightly, the warmth returning in an instant, "I should let you all get back to your empire ing. Just wanted to confirm where we stand." "You stand defeated," the Emperor spat. Marcus smiled softly, almost pitying. "Oh, Emperor, we haven't even begun standing yet." He ended the call with a casual flick. The screen went dark. The bridge fell silent. Yara finally breathed. "Sir, do they know?" Marcus took the final sip of his coffee. "They will." "And when will we start Phase 2? He set his cup down gently, eyes fixed on the glowing world of the Empire below. "When," he whispered, "they stop laughing." A distant alarm began beeping. An Imperial broadcast demanding all species comply with immediate enslavement protocols. Marcus closed his eyes briefly, then opened them with a calm, chilling focus. "Well," he said, voice a soft thunder, "I guess the laughing's over." And somewhere, far beneath the Empire's shining towers, something vast and silent began to move. The Galactic Empire did not believe in coincidences, but it believed even less in the competence of its enemies. That was why, when the first flicker rippled across their long-range sensors, a faint distortion, a vanishing blip, a momentary static wash, the generals dismissed it as a malfunction. Zirithi commanders blamed outdated firmware. Quantari machines blamed organic maintenance crews. Amphibious cell-run captains blamed the humidity. No one blamed humans. Humanity was not yet considered important enough to blame for anything. Then the second distortion hit. This time, it was not one blip but 7. And not on one system but 3. Entire detection grids went dark, rebooting into blank, embarrassed screens. When the technicians finally restarted them, the same realization struck every control room simultaneously. A small cluster of unidentified vessels had appeared, moved, and disappeared without leaving a trace. No warp trails. No ion burn. Nothing. In the Grand War Room of Zyrith Prime, Admiral Corvith pounded a scaled fist against the nearest console. "Show me the footage," he growled. "There is none, sir," the operator stammered. Corvith's eyes narrowed. "How can there be none?" The operator swallowed. "Because, sir, the ships weren't recorded arriving. They were simply there." The room fell silent. Several seats away, the wise Selrun elder issued a soft, uneasy trill. "Ghost fleets," he whispered. "Phantoms from a world that should not have such things." Another general scoffed. "Those humans couldn't build a proper cruiser if you gave them instructions in finger paints." "Are you certain?" The elder murmured. Their ambassador smiled like a predator avoiding paperwork. The room tensed. The memory of Marcus Vale, calm, warm-voiced, terrifying in hindsight, lingered like a shadow that refused to leave. Corvith hissed. "Humans are nothing. If they had real fleets, we would have known." But even as he spoke, another alarm blared. This one was not a flicker. It was a system-wide blackout. Across 3 star sectors, the Empire's observation satellites went dead in perfect synchrony. One moment they hummed with data. The next they lay silent, emptied like eggs cracked cleanly at the top. A single message blinked onto the center screen. "Good morning." Smiley face. Marcus Vale's signature smiley face sat beneath it like a taunt from a polite executioner. Corvith's scales flushed dark purple. "Where did that come from?" "Nowhere, sir." "Meaning?" "Meaning, it bypassed all our security and appeared without transmission logs." Someone whispered, "Impossible." Yet nobody in the room believed it anymore. The Emperor strode into the chamber, golden cloak billowing like an angry storm. "Explain." Corvith stiffened. "Your Majesty, humans appear to have deployed stealth technology beyond our." The Emperor lifted one imperious hand, silencing him. His voice was low, cold. The human envoy was mocking us. Every word from his mouth dripped insolence. The Selrun elder shook his head softly. "No. It dripped warning. We mistook it for naivety." "And you," the Emperor spat, "mistake your fear for wisdom." But fear was not unique to the elder now. It fluttered in the room like a trapped creature, small at first, but growing. Meanwhile, millions of light-years away, aboard the human ship Horizon's Wake, Marcus Vale watched the Empire scramble through live-relayed feeds. He leaned back in his chair, tapping a quiet rhythm on his cup. "Looks like they're catching on," Yara Singh muttered from the co-pilot's console. "Catching on to what?" Marcus asked, not looking up. "That we're not actually harmless." Marcus smiled faintly. "Oh, we're harmless. Entirely harmless. Until someone chains us." Yara snorted. "Sure. That makes us sound better." He glanced at her, eyes soft but edged with something deeper. "Humans build for peace, Lieutenant. But we prepare for the day peace is taken away." His gaze drifted to the starlines beyond the glass. "Empires forget that." She hesitated. "Sir, how much do they know?" "Not enough," he replied. "Too much." "Also yes." Before she could respond, the transmission console chimed. An incoming message, Imperial frequency, official seal. Marcus raised both eyebrows. "Oh? They want to talk." He accepted the call. Admiral Corvith's furious face erupted onto the screen. Human! Explain your trespass into Imperial space. Marcus blinked innocently. Trespass? No, no, Admiral. We're not trespassing. We're sightseeing. Sight? Corvith sputtered. You disabled 7 of our satellite webs. Oh. Did we? Marcus widened his eyes as though genuinely surprised. I thought they were offline for routine maintenance. You're mocking us. Only a little. Mostly I'm just concerned you didn't patch your encryption. Outdated security can really cause problems, you know. Corvith leaned forward. Captain Vale, do not misunderstand. You are outmatched. The Empire spans thousands of systems. Humanity is alone. Marcus took a gentle sip of his coffee. Are we? Corvith froze. His eyes darted sideways. Someone was speaking urgently off-screen. A technician slid into view, whispering something that made the Admiral's scales go pale. What did they say? Marcus asked pleasantly. Corvith bared his fangs. Our scout fleet just vanished. Vanished? Marcus echoed. How strange. Do not play games with me. Marcus shrugged apologetically. That's fair. I'll be more direct. He leaned forward, his voice soft, velvet smooth. Pull your fleets back, Admiral. Don't push this. Corvith sneered. You cannot intimidate the Empire. Marcus tilted his head. I'm not intimidating. I'm explaining. Behind him, through the viewport, faint ripples shimmered in space, like distortions, like mirages, barely visible but unmistakably present. Human ships. Hundreds. Silent. Waiting. Corvith noticed the shifting stars and stiffened. What are those? Backup dancers, Marcus said lightly. They're shy. The Emperor's voice cut into the channel, overriding everything. Human. You defy the will of the Empire. Marcus offered a gentle smile. You declared all humans slaves. We're not big on that. You will kneel, the Emperor thundered. Marcus tapped his wrist device casually. Funny timing. I was just thinking the same thing. The Emperor recoiled. What? A nearby Imperial console exploded in sparks. Another flickered violently. The entire command floor shook as lights dimmed, alarms howling like wounded beasts. Technicians screamed. We're being hacked, every system at once, it's not possible. Marcus watched them with the compassion of a teacher observing a student, realized the test is far harder than expected. Don't worry, he said softly. This is just the curtain warming up. You dare, the Emperor roared. Marcus cut him off gently. Your Majesty, this is your last chance to walk away. The Emperor spat. We will drown your world in fire. Marcus's smile faded almost imperceptibly. The warmth remained, but the light behind it dimmed. Well, he murmured, that makes my next choice easier. The Emperor was about to speak again when the transmission abruptly severed, not by human action, but by a sudden collapse in the Empire's network. In the quiet that followed, Yara whispered, Sir, did we burn their main grid? No, Marcus replied, eyes fixed on the fading screen. They burned it themselves. Panic does that. She hesitated. What happens now? Marcus exhaled slowly, as the distant ghost fleets finished materializing behind him like shadows choosing to become real. Now, he said, the Empire begins to understand what they've awakened. Beyond the glass, human vessels shimmered fully into visibility, sleek, silent leviathans stretching across the stars like a second horizon. And at the center of them, Marcus Vale stood perfectly calm as the galaxy's most arrogant empire finally realized. Humans were smiling for a reason. The Empire had always believed the universe was built on hierarchy. Predators above, prey below, and themselves firmly carved into the highest rung. That belief began to shake the moment the first human fleets materialized without arrival signatures, but it didn't truly crack until the second wave appeared. Not with thunder. Not with flashing engines. Just there. Silent. Waiting. Watching. In the observation tower overlooking the Imperial capital, Emperor Zeresh stood motionless as the shapes glimmered across the void. Beside him, the Selrun elder trembled. "They do not warp," the elder whispered. "They do not drift. They do not exist in the way they should." Zeresh snarled, though his own throat felt tight. "Tricks. Illusions. They attempt to intimidate us." Yet the ships outside seemed indifferent to intimidation. They did not posture or signal for negotiation. They simply held position with the patience of apex creatures who never needed to prove themselves. On the bridge of the Horizon's Wake, Marcus Vale watched the Imperial reaction through a dozen intercepted feeds. His posture was peaceful, but his eyes had sharpened. Less summer sky, more winter steel. "They're confused," he murmured, almost kindly. "Confusion is the precursor to fear." Yara Singh glanced over, her knuckles white where she gripped her console. "Sir, when do we reveal Phase 3? When they ask themselves the right question." "And what question is that?" Marcus tapped his wrist display, where a silent countdown pulsed like a heartbeat. "Whether they ever understood humans at all." Across Zyrith Prime, alarms shrieked as analysts scrambled to decode the sudden collapse of half the Empire's long-range networks. The Quantari machines had gone into recursive panic loops, frantically rebooting in hopes of restoring systems that were not merely jammed. They were locked out from the inside. A young Zirithi technician cried out, "Emperor! The intruding code, it's not disabling our systems. It's cataloging them." The word rippled through the chamber like an ice storm. Cataloging. Marcus Vale's voice echoed in Zeresh's mind. "We like to be organized." For the first time in his reign, the Emperor felt something cold slide down his spine. He activated the Council beacon. Marcus's face appeared on an enormous screen. The same polite smile, the same calm composure, as though oblivious to the chaos unraveling beneath him. "What have you done?" Zeresh hissed. "Oh, nothing dramatic," Marcus replied. "We just took a little inventory." The amphibious envoy slapped the table with furious webbed fingers. "Inventory? You've crippled 3 sectors." "Temporarily," Marcus said. "We haven't touched the vital infrastructure, well, except the parts you shouldn't have left exposed. But I'm not here to critique your cybersecurity. I'm here to give you context." Zeresh leaned closer, eyes burning. "Context for what?" Marcus folded his hands. "For why Earth smiled when you threatened it." The Selrun elder's tendrils curled inward. "Speak plainly." Marcus's voice softened into something quieter, heavier. "You believed we were isolated, primitive, unprepared." He glanced out the viewport at the silent human fleets. "We believed you were predictable." Someone off-screen on the Empire's side choked. "You planned this?" Marcus hummed. "Planned is such a rigid word. Let's say we anticipated possibilities. Humanity doesn't enjoy conflict, but we prepare for it the way a desert prepares for drought, quietly, patiently, and everywhere." Zeresh slammed a fist against the screen. "You dare claim your little world could match the Empire?" Marcus didn't blink. "Match? No. Outmaneuver? Easily." He gestured to a star map that unfolded behind him. Thousands of tiny human markers blinked across Imperial space, far more than the Empire had ever detected. Yara Singh whispered, "Here we go." Marcus stepped aside, so the Council could see the full projection. "These points are not ships or weapons. They're nodes." The Quantari emissary stuttered. "Nodes?" "Quantum anchor beacons," Marcus explained gently. "We seeded them years ago. Didn't take much, for field researchers, 2 cargo carriers, and a lot of very patient astrophysicists." The Empire froze, not in stillness, but in understanding. Marcus continued. "Every beacon gives us complete spatial mapping. Every mapping point gives us predictive movement. And every prediction gives us your weakness before you know you have one." Zeresh felt his heartbeat thunder in his ears. "You infiltrated the Empire?" "We visited," Marcus corrected politely. "You didn't notice." "That's not a critique. It's not easy to spot a species that hides by pretending to be clumsy tourists." A ripple of disbelief coursed through the council chamber. The amphibious envoy whispered, "This is madness. You cannot expect us to believe." But Marcus cut him off with a single raised finger. "Belief is optional. Consequences are not." In the Imperial Strategy Hall, the last functioning holograms flickered violently. The technicians reported an impossible phenomenon. Human ships were simultaneously present and absent in dozens of systems. "They're mirages," someone screamed. "No," another corrected, voice shaking. "They're projections." "No," the elder whispered, voice breaking. "They are traps." Marcus returned on the council screen, expression calm. "You see, we didn't build our fleets to fight you. We built them to surround you. To box in an empire that would eventually harm us." Zeresh roared. "You accuse us of inevitable tyranny?" Marcus didn't raise his voice. "History does." And then he let the silence stretch. The Zirathi Chancellor broke first. "What do you want?" Marcus's smile returned. "Not cold, not cruel, but devastating. I want you to understand something simple." He leaned close, eyes glinting with a deeply human intensity. "We didn't come here to conquer the Empire." Zeresh exhaled shakily. "Then what purpose?" "We came," Marcus said softly, "to end it." The council erupted in shouts, fear, fury, shock, but Marcus remained perfectly composed. The soft countdown on his wrist flashed one final number before turning green. He straightened. "Phase 3 begins now." Outside, the human fleets shifted, not forward but outward, forming a perfect encirclement around Zirath Prime. Space itself seemed to tighten, the stars bending ever so slightly as the ships activated systems the Empire had no name for. Zeresh stared at the phenomenon unfolding around his capital. "What is that?" Marcus exhaled with quiet finality. "The veil lifting." Lights dimmed across the Imperial Tower. Shadows converged. Somewhere deep below, civilian comm lines erupted in panic screams. "Marcus Vale," Zeresh whispered, voice trembling despite himself. "What are you?" Marcus looked directly into the Emperor's eyes. His smile was gentle. His voice barely above a whisper. "Human." Then the transmission cut, and the Empire watched in frozen horror as the human fleet began to reveal what it had always hidden. The teeth behind the smile. The Empire had always assumed that endings arrived loudly, with shattering planets, boiling suns, and triumphal roars echoing through the star lanes. But when Operation Candlefall began, the first sound that rippled across Zirath Prime was not thunder. It was silence. A vast, deliberate, suffocating silence, as though the galaxy itself had taken a breath and decided not to release it. From his vantage aboard the Horizon's wake, Marcus Vale watched the Empire's capital dim beneath the tightening ring of human warships. They stood motionless, enormous silhouettes against the void, like titans frozen mid-stride. Their hulls carried no insignias, no flashing lights, no threats. They didn't need any. Presence alone was declaration. Yara Singh broke the quiet first. "Sir, we're fully encircled. Final positions locked." Marcus nodded, though his eyes remained fixed on the world below. "And evacuation channels?" "Open for civilians. Unrestricted. Just like you ordered." "Good." His voice softened. "War should never punish the innocent." Below, within the Imperial Palace, chaos spread like fire licking through dry grass. Generals flooded the throne room, shouting over one another with half-formed theories and desperate commands. Emperor Zeresh stood at the center of the hurricane, but his authority felt brittle, stiffened pride trying to mask growing terror. "You will activate the planetary shields," he snarled. A trembling lieutenant shook his head. We can't, sire." Zeresh's voice turned deadly. "Can't?" "The human infiltration. They control the shield grid. We can't raise anything without their code." "And the fleet?" Zeresh demanded. "Where is my armada?" The Selran elder croaked. "Gone, Emperor, or worse." Zeresh whirled. "What do you mean worse?" The elder closed his eyes, as though reliving the devastation. "Your armada was never yours. You believed we commanded it, but the humans had already hollowed it out. Half the vessels were disabled from within, before they ever reached battle lines. The rest surrendered. Zeresh's snarl turned feral. Impossible. The elder opened his eyes. They smiled while saying nothing. That alone should have warned us. On the horizon's wake, Marcus Vale gave a quiet order. Begin projection. Across space, a soft glow rippled outward from the human fleet, threads of golden light weaving into a lattice that stretched around the planet like the petals of a blooming flower. It was beautiful, almost artistic, but nothing beautiful the humans built ever existed solely for aesthetics. The Emperor's Council stared upward as the sky dimmed beneath the expanding grid. "What is that?" a general whispered. Marcus's voice reached them through every commline, every speaker, every display. Gentle, controlled, inescapable. Operation Candlefall. The council members froze. The Emperor's breath caught, but he forced steel into his tone. "Explain this weapon." "Not a weapon," Marcus replied. "A boundary. A silence field. Once activated, nothing enters or leaves. No communications. No reinforcements. No tyranny." Zeresh's claws curled inward. "You intend to imprison us?" "No," Marcus said. "I intend to end the Empire's reign. What you built was not order. It was oppression wrapped in ceremony." The amphibious envoy sputtered. "Who are you to judge us?" Marcus's answer was calm. "Someone you tried to enslave." The lattice reached full extension, glowing brighter as ship by ship aligned. Yara's console glimmered with final readiness codes. She swallowed. "The grid is primed, sir. Awaiting your signal." Marcus hesitated, but only for a heartbeat, the weight of the galaxy pressing on his shoulders. Candle fall, ignition. The fleet unleashed nothing visible. No beam, no blast, no cataclysm. Instead, space warped. The lattice pulsed, and in a single resonant hum, every Imperial war hub, command tower and weapons relay on Zyrith Prime went dark. Not destroyed. Disarmed. Rendered immaculate in their helplessness. In the palace, lights flickered into a dim emergency glow. Weapons deactivated. Armor plates powered off. The Emperor's personal energy shield dissolved mid-breath. Zeresh staggered backward. What have you done to my world?" Marcus's voice was steady. "We ended your ability to harm others. You crippled an empire." "No," Marcus corrected softly. "We freed a galaxy." Shouts echoed in the chamber as soldiers and officials realized their weapons no longer obeyed them. Panic surged through the ranks, but the Selrun elder lifted a trembling hand. "Quiet," he murmured. "Listen." Outside, through the palace windows, the sky shimmered with the distant silhouettes of smaller vessels descending. They carried no flags but played soft, resonant tones audible even from the ground. Not the war horns of invaders, something gentler. A promise rather than a warning. "Human relief ships." Zeresh's voice cracked. "You claim mercy, yet you destroy us." "We are dismantling your machinery, not your people," Marcus said. "Candlefall targets only systems built for domination." "You presume we will accept your rule?" Marcus frowned slightly. "We don't want to rule. We want to stop you from ruling." Yara glanced at Marcus. "Sir, their capital command sequence just collapsed." "Expected," Marcus murmured. "Patch me into their local feed." A moment later, Marcus's image appeared throughout Zyrith Prime, on walls, screens, hover panels, and projection clouds. Citizens across the planet froze, staring up at the human captain, who spoke with a tone neither triumphant nor cruel. "People of the Empire," Marcus said, "you are not our enemy." The translation carried his sincerity clearly, rippling through marketplaces, factories, and barracks. "Your leaders enslaved worlds. You obeyed because they taught you fear. But today, that fear ends." The amphibious envoy tried to interrupt, but Marcus's voice overpowered him, not by volume, but by clarity. "Our fleets will not occupy your home. They will only remain long enough to return power to the innocent, to ensure no one else bears chains." For the first time, large clusters of the Empire's civilian population began to cheer, not out of loyalty to humans, but out of relief. Zeresh trembled with rage. "You think we will let you dismantle the Empire?" Marcus looked at him through the feed, eyes calm, almost mournful. "I think the Empire has already dismantled itself." The Emperor lunged at his console, smashing controls with his fists. Nothing responded. Nothing obeyed. Nothing remained for him to command. "This is not victory," he snarled. "No," Marcus agreed softly. "It's closure." Zeresh's scream tore through the chamber as he hurled himself toward the central dais where the projection hovered. "You have no idea what you unleash by stripping away our rule. The galaxy needs order." Marcus's expression hardened. Order without justice is not order. It's a cage. Before the Emperor could reply, a deep vibration rumbled through the palace, soft, resonant, like a bell struck underwater. Yara stiffened. "Sir, external movement. Something big." Marcus leaned forward. "Define big." A new silhouette appeared behind the human fleet, a colossal ship, angular and dark, emerging from some hidden fold of space. Yara's breath faltered. "Sir, that's not ours." Marcus straightened slowly, his coffee slipping from his hand and striking the floor with a soft crack. "Identify it," he whispered. The computer hummed, scanned, then delivered a result that made every human aboard go still. Unknown origin. Unknown technology. Unknown intent. But unmistakably, human. Marcus felt a rare chill crawl through his spine. "The Empire," he murmured, "might not have been our only problem." And as the colossal vessel drifted into the field of stars, silent, waiting, watching, Marcus understood that Candlefall had not ended the story. It had only opened the next door.